The Zephyrite warfleet was magnificent. 200 ships arranged in perfect formation. Each vessel gleamed with polished metal and ceremonial markings. The flagship Glory of Ages was the largest. 10,000 warriors filled its decks. Battle priests blessed the weapons. Engineers checked every system twice. Admiral Vexer stood on the command bridge wearing his finest ceremonial armor. It was ancient, passed down through 15 generations of military commanders. The metal shone like gold under the shiplights. Jewels decorated the shoulder plates. Each jewel represented a conquered world. Soon there would be more jewels. All ships report ready, Admiral, his second-in-command announced. Vexthorn nodded with satisfaction. Begin departure sequence. Set course for human territory. Maximum speed. The engines roared to life. One by one, the ships lifted from their orbital positions. They moved together like a school of fish. Perfectly synchronized. Perfectly coordinated. It was beautiful. On the flagship bridge, officers monitored their stations. Everything was running smoothly. The journey would take 2 months at maximum speed. 2 months until they reached the first human colonies. 2 months until victory began. Admiral, the communications officer said, we have another message from humanity. Vexter's mood was too good to be ruined. What do they say now? Do they finally beg for mercy? The officer looked confused. Not exactly, sir. They sent another automated message. The message appeared on the main screen. Dear Zephyrite Empire, we acknowledge receipt of your declaration of war dated Standard Calendar 2247-95. This matter has been forwarded to the appropriate department. Is there anything else we can help you with today? Please rate your customer service experience by clicking the link below. There was a customer satisfaction survey attached. 5 stars for excellent service, 1 star for poor service. Several bridge officers stared at the screen in disbelief. They want us to rate their customer service. Someone whispered while we are invading them. Another added. Vexer felt his neck ridges flush with anger, but he controlled it. He was a professional, a warrior. He would not let human foolishness bother him. Ignore it, Vexter commanded. They are trying to confuse us with strange tactics. It will not work. We proceed as planned. But privately, Vexer felt uneasy. Something was wrong. Something he could not identify. Species facing destruction did not send customer service surveys. They sent desperate pleas, military threats, something, anything except cheerful automated messages. Back on the Zephyrite homeworld, Ambassador Krell could not sleep. He lay in his sleeping chamber, staring at the ceiling. The war had begun. The fleet was on its way. Everything was going according to plan. So why did he feel so worried? He got up and went to his personal communication terminal. He pulled up human broadcasts again. Maybe now that the fleet had actually launched, the humans would show some reaction. He found a human news channel. The same cheerful female anchor from before appeared on screen. Good evening everyone. Our top story tonight. The annual flower festival in New Tokyo was a huge success. Over 5 million people attended. We'll have highlights after these messages. Krell fast-forwarded through the broadcast. Weather, sports, entertainment news, political debates, economic reports, technology reviews. Nothing about the war. Not one word. A fleet of 200 warships was heading toward human space and their news programs talked about flower festivals. Krell switched to another channel, then another, then another. Finally, on a small local news program, he found a brief mention. In other news, the Zephyrite Empire continues to maintain its war declaration against humanity. Military officials say there is no cause for alarm. Citizens are advised to continue normal activities. The government will provide updates if the situation changes. No cause for alarm. Continue normal activities. Krill felt cold. This was not natural. This was not how intelligent species behaved when facing invasion. Unless they knew something the Zephyrite did not. Krell opened a secure channel to Admiral Vexter. Admiral, I have concerns. Vexer's face appeared on screen. He looked annoyed at being interrupted. What concerns, Ambassador? The humans are not reacting appropriately. They show no fear, no preparation. It is troubling. Perhaps they are simply cowards, Vexer suggested, too afraid to even acknowledge the threat. Or perhaps they are confident. Krell replied quietly, confident that we pose no real danger to them. Vexter's expression hardened. Impossible. We have 200 warships. They have scattered colonies and minimal defenses. Our intelligence reports confirm this. When was our intelligence gathered? Krell asked. Vexter paused. 3 years ago. Standard intelligence cycle. 3 years is a long time. Krell said. Perhaps we should gather new intelligence before engaging. We are already underway. Vexer replied. The fleet cannot turn back now without looking weak. Besides, even if human defenses have improved, we still outnumber them significantly. Vexer ended the communication. Krell sat alone in his office staring at the dark screen. 3-year-old intelligence, automated responses, no human panic, no military mobilization. Something was very wrong. Across the galaxy on Earth, Director Sarah Martinez sat in her office at the Human Defense Council headquarters. Her assistant knocked on the door. Director, the Zephyrite fleet has launched. They are heading toward New Coventry Colony. Estimated arrival 2 months. Martinez did not look up from her paperwork. Have we sent them a response yet? Yes, ma'am. The automated acknowledgement went out yesterday. The formal diplomatic response will be sent according to standard protocol. Good. Martinez signed a document and moved it to her completed pile. What's the status of Operation Rimwatch? The assistant checked her tablet. The main fleet is in position. Admiral Chan reports all ships ready. The situation is contained for now, but they're expecting another incursion within the next few weeks. Martinez nodded. Keep me updated. That's our priority. What about the Zephyrite, ma'am? Martinez finally looked up. What about them? Well, they're invading us. Shouldn't we do something? We are doing something, Martinez replied. We're following proper diplomatic protocols. We've acknowledged their declaration. We'll send a formal response within the standard time frame. We'll assign appropriate resources to handle the situation. Appropriate resources? The assistant asked. How many ships? Martinez thought for a moment. New Coventry has local defense forces. That should be adequate. If they need support, we can send a patrol group. Maybe 3 or 4 ships. 3 or 4 ships against 200, if necessary, Martinez said calmly. But I suspect the Zephyrite will figure things out before it comes to that. Figure what out, ma'am? Martinez smiled. A small, tired smile. That we're too busy to play war games. That we have real problems to deal with. That their invasion is frankly not important enough to distract us from what really matters. The assistant looked confused. But they declared war on us. Yes, they did. Martinez agreed. And in 8 months, when we have time, we'll sit down with them and explain why that was a mistake. Until then, we have bigger fish to fry. She returned to her paperwork. The assistant hesitated, then left quietly. Alone in her office, Martinez allowed herself a moment of frustration. The Zephyrite Empire, ancient, proud, powerful by galactic standards, and completely ignorant about what humanity really faced. She pulled up a classified report on her screen. Operation Rimwatch, the permanent fleet stationed at the Galactic Rim. 3,000 ships, humanity's best and strongest, standing watch against something that wanted to break through. Something that had tried 50 years ago and nearly succeeded. Something that kept trying, kept probing, kept looking for weaknesses. The Zephyrite thought 200 ships was impressive. They thought conquering 47 star systems made them powerful. They had no idea. Martinez closed the report. She had work to do. Real work. Important work. The Zephyrite would learn eventually. Everyone did. Some species learned quickly. Others needed more convincing. Either way, humanity would continue doing what they had done for 50 years. Standing between civilization and the dark. Fighting wars no one else knew about. Protecting a galaxy that didn't even know it needed protection. And if the Zephyrite wanted to throw a tantrum and declare war in the middle of all that, well, they could take a number and wait their turn like everyone else. 3 weeks passed. The Zephyrite warfleet moved through deep space at maximum speed. Stars streaked past the windows like rivers of light. 200 ships maintained perfect formation. Every day, Admiral Vexter reviewed reports. Weapon systems optimal. Shields at full strength. Crew morale high. Everything was perfect except for one thing. The humans still were not reacting. On the Zephyrite home world, Ambassador Krell had become obsessed. He spent 18 hours each day monitoring human communications, watching their news broadcasts, reading their public messages, searching desperately for signs of fear or panic or military preparation. He found nothing. Council member Theodin visited Krell's office one morning. He was shocked by what he saw. Krell sat surrounded by dozens of screens, each one showing different human broadcasts. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. His ceremonial robes were wrinkled and stained. Krell, you must rest, Theodin said gently. I cannot, Krell muttered. He pointed at one screen. Look at this, a human entertainment program. They are laughing, making jokes, Our fleet is 6 weeks from their territory, and they are laughing. Theoden watched the screen. Humans sat around a table talking. One said something, the others laughed loudly. It was some kind of comedy show. Perhaps they cope with fear through humor. Theoden suggested. No. Krell switched to another screen. Look, a human sports event. 50,000 people in a stadium cheering, celebrating. Not one of them looks worried. Another screen showed a human news program. The stock market reached record highs today. Investors are optimistic about the coming quarter. In other news, construction continues on the new Berlin orbital station. The project remains on schedule despite minor delays. Record highs, on schedule, business as usual. Krell switched to a military communication channel. He had low-level access to human public military broadcasts. Nothing classified, just routine traffic. This is Transport Group 7 requesting clearance for supply run to Kepler Station. Clearance granted. Proceed on route Delta 4. Watch out for that asteroid cluster near marker 16. Copy that. Thanks for the heads up. No problem. Safe travels. Routine, casual, friendly. No emergency protocols. No combat alerts. No fleet mobilizations. I do not understand. Krell whispered. Why are they not preparing? Why do they not care? Theoden placed a hand on Krell's shoulder. Perhaps our intelligence was correct. Perhaps they are simply too weak to resist. Perhaps they have already accepted defeat. But Krell shook his head. No, you do not accept defeat with such calmness, with such normally. Something else is happening, something we do not see. 6 weeks into the journey, something finally changed. A message arrived at the Zephyrite diplomatic office. Not an automated response this time, an actual message from a human official. Krell opened it immediately, his heart's racing with anticipation. Dear Ambassador Krell, thank you for your declaration of war. Dated Standard Calendar 2247, 915. We have reviewed your concerns regarding territorial boundaries and unauthorized colonial expansion. Please note that the sectors in question were classified as unclaimed under the Galactic Charter of 2145 subsection 7 paragraph 3. However, we understand there may have been a miscommunication regarding historical claims. Would you like to schedule a meeting to discuss this matter in detail? Our next available appointment is in 8 months. Please let us know if this time works for your schedule. We look forward to resolving the situation through peaceful diplomatic channels. Best regards, Office of Galactic Relations, Earth. Krell read the message 3 times. 8 months. They wanted to schedule a meeting in 8 months. While a war fleet approached their territory, while invasion was imminent, they were treating this like a minor border dispute, like a scheduling conflict. They still do not understand, Krell said to the empty room. They still think this is some diplomatic misunderstanding. But deep down, Krell was beginning to suspect something else, something that made him very uncomfortable. Maybe the humans did understand. Maybe they understood perfectly, and maybe they just did not care. Meanwhile, Captain Maria Santos was having a normal day. The profitable venture was cruising through hyperspace toward New Coventry Colony. She had mining equipment to deliver, a schedule to keep, bills to pay. Captain Coffee's ready, Jake called from the galley. Maria left the bridge and joined her co-pilot in the small crew area. The profitable venture was not a big ship, just enough room for 2 crew members and cargo. But it was comfortable. It was home. Thanks. Maria took the coffee mug. It was her favorite one, blue with white letters saying, I break for asteroids. Jake pulled up a newsfeed on his tablet. Check this out. The Zephyrite fleet is like halfway here now. Ha! Maria sipped her coffee. Any updates from command? Just the same advisory. Recommend alternate routes. Low priority situation. Jake scrolled through the feed. Some people on social media are getting worried though. Maria looked over his shoulder. The comments section was active. User Stargazer 99. Should we be evacuating the border colonies? User Space Dad 2187. Relax. Military says it's low priority. They know what they're doing. User Cosmic Karen. This is unacceptable. The government should be doing more. User Veteran Pilot. Trust me, if this was serious, you'd know. Real threats don't give you 2 months warning. Maria nodded. Veteran Pilot is right. When there's a real problem, command moves fast. Remember the Kepler incident? Jake shuddered. Don't remind me. We got rerouted mid-flight with 0 explanation. Spent 3 extra days in hyperspace. Exactly. That's what a real emergency looks like. Sudden route changes. Communication blackouts. Fleet deployments. Maria finished her coffee. This is just diplomatic theater. You think the Zephyrite are bluffing? I think they don't know who they're messing with." Maria stood up and returned to the bridge. "Come on, we need to drop out of hyperspace in 2 hours. Let's run pre-arrival checks." They worked through their checklist. Standard procedure. Nothing special. Just another cargo run to just another colony. Except this time, Maria noticed something unusual on the sensor logs. "Jake, are you seeing this?" Her co-pilot checked his screen. "What am I looking at?" "Ship movements. Past 3 weeks." Maria pulled up the data. "Look at the heavy ships, the carriers and dreadnoughts." Jake studied the patterns. "They're all heading away from the border toward the rim." "Yeah." Maria enhanced the display. "Not just a few ships, like a lot of them, at least 50 that I can track." "That's weird," Jake admitted. "If the Zephyrite are coming, shouldn't our big ships be heading toward them?" Maria thought about it. She had served in the Navy for 6 years before becoming a civilian pilot. She knew how military operations worked. You moved your assets toward threats, not away from them, unless the threat was somewhere else. "There's something happening at the rim," Maria said quietly. "Something bigger than the Zephyrite. Should we be worried?" Maria shook her head. "If Command wanted us to worry, they'd tell us. Our job is to haul cargo. The Navy's job is to handle threats. Everyone has their job." But she made a mental note to check the rim deployments more carefully, not because she was worried, just because she was curious. Old Navy habits died hard. The profitable venture dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the new Coventry system. The brown planet appeared on their screens. Ugly, but profitable. The mining colony there pulled rare metals from the ground. Metals that made ships and stations and all of civilization possible. New Coventry control. "This is profitable venture requesting docking clearance?" Maria transmitted. "Profitable venture. This is control. We see you. Stand by for clearance." There was a longer pause than usual. "Control, is there a problem?" Maria asked. "Negative venture. Just checking some new security protocols. You're clear for landing at Base 7. Welcome back, Captain Santos." "Thanks, Control." As they descended toward the planet, Jake pointed at his screen. "Captain, look at the orbital defense grid." Maria checked. New Coventry had 6 defense platforms in orbit. Standard setup for a mining colony. Nothing special. But today, all 6 platforms had their weapons online. Shields active. Sensor arrays at maximum range. "They're ready for something," Jake observed. "Probably just precautionary," Maria replied. But she felt a small twist of unease in her stomach. Below them, the colony looked normal. Miners working, transports moving, equipment running, business as usual. But the weapons were hot. Somewhere in space, the Zephyrite warfleet continued its journey. Admiral Vexler stood on his bridge, confident and proud. His warriors were ready. His ships were mighty. Victory was certain. On his home world, Ambassador Krell sat surrounded by screens, watching humanity go about its daily life, laughing, working, living, as if 200 warships were not bearing down on them. And at the galactic rim, where no one was looking, where no one was paying attention, the real war continued. The war that never stopped. The war that humanity fought alone. 3,000 human ships maintaining their watch, holding the line, facing something that kept trying to break through. Something that made the Zephyrite Empire look like children playing with toys. But the Zephyrite did not know this. They did not know about the rim. They did not know about the real threats. They did not know that humanity's casual indifference was not weakness, it was perspective. They were about to learn. Commander Jathik stood on the bridge of the Glory of Ages and felt his warrior blood singing. Today was the day. Today the Zephyrite Empire would claim its first human colony. Today victory would begin. All ships battle formation. Admiral Vexer commanded. 200 warships moved into position. It was magnificent, beautiful, overwhelming. Commander Jathik had fought in 4 campaigns during his career. He had seen battle. He had tasted glory. But this formation was the largest he had ever witnessed. "Sensors report," Vexter demanded. The sensor officer studied his displays. "We detect 6 orbital defense platforms around New Coventry. Standard design, moderate weapons capability. Also detecting 3 patrol ships, small vessels approximately 80 m in length." Jathik frowned. "Only 3 patrol ships. Where is their main defense fleet?" "No other vessels detected within scanning range." "Commander, this was wrong. The humans had known for 2 months that invasion was coming. Where were their reinforcements? Where were their military forces?" "Perhaps they evacuated," suggested the tactical officer. "Perhaps they abandoned the colony." Scan the planet's surface, Jathik ordered. Population readings show approximately 50,000 humans still present. Commander, no evacuation detected. 50,000 people still there, still working as if 200 warships were not hanging in orbit above them. Admiral Vexter's voice was cold. Open communication channel. Hail those patrol ships. The communications officer worked his controls. Channel open. Admiral. Attention human vessels. Vexter began. His voice carried the weight of authority, the power of an empire. This is Admiral Vexter of the Zade Imperial Fleet. You are ordered to surrender immediately. Power down your weapons. Prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your destruction. A moment of silence. Then the human response came through the speakers. The voice was young, male, and completely casual. Yeah, we got your message. Hold on a second. Background voices came through clearly. The humans had apparently forgotten to mute their internal communications. Hey, Marcus, what's the protocol for this? Is it Form 27B or 28B? How should I know? Check the manual. The manual is like 3,000 pages long. Man, just tell them we're not surrendering. That seems pretty standard. Good point. The human came back on the channel. Sorry about that. We're not surrendering. Also, you're in violation of colonial airspace regulations. You need to file for proper clearance before entering orbit. I can send you the forms if you want. Jick stared at the communications officer. The communications officer stared back equally confused. Did they just cite airspace regulations? Jathik asked slowly. I believe so, Commander. Admiral Vexter's neck ridges flushed dark purple with rage. Destroy them. The Zephyrite fleet opened fire. Energy beams lanced through space. Bright, deadly, beautiful in their terrible way. The first orbital platform exploded in a satisfying burst of metal and fire. Then the second. Then the third. The human patrol ships began to move. They were small, fragile looking, but they moved with surprising grace, dodging between energy beams, rolling and spinning. Their pilots were skilled, very skilled. All ships concentrate fire on those patrol vessels. Vexer commanded. 20 Zephyrite cruisers focused on one human ship. The little vessel danced between the beams. Its shields flared bright as some shots connected, but it kept flying, kept fighting back. Its weapons were not powerful, not compared to Zephyrite cannons, but they were accurate, disturbingly accurate. One shot hit a cruiser's shield generator, another struck a weapon array. Not enough damage to destroy, but annoying, precise. How are they hitting us so consistently? Jathik wondered aloud. Their targeting systems are very advanced, Commander. The weapons officer reported. They compensate for our evasive maneuvers almost instantly. Then something strange happened. The human ship broadcast another message. Still on the open channel. Still audible to everyone. Oh, come on. I'm missing the game for this. Another voice responded. Stop complaining and focus. We need to hold them off until the civilians evacuate. The game is tied. It's the championship. Do you know how long I've waited? Dave, I swear if you get us killed because you're worried about sports, I'm not going to get us killed. I'm just saying this is really bad timing. The transmission cut off as another volley of energy beams struck the ship. Its shields flickered, weakened, but it kept flying, kept fighting. Jathik felt something he had not expected to feel today. Respect. These humans were outnumbered, outgunned, facing certain death, and they were arguing about a sports game, not because they were stupid, not because they did not understand the danger, but because they were still human, still themselves, even in the face of annihilation. 3 Zephyrite cruisers surrounded the human ship. Now it was trapped, boxed in. Its shields were failing. Sparks trailed from damaged sections. Final warning. Vexter transmitted. Surrender now. You fought well. There is no shame in surrender. The human response came immediately. The same casual voice, but there was something different in it now. Something hard. Yeah, that's going to be a no from me, buddy. But hey, good effort with the threatening. Real scary. Really selling it. Destroy them, Vexer said quietly. It took 5 more minutes. The human ship fought until its weapons went offline, until its engines died, until it was just a drifting hulk trailing atmosphere. But it never surrendered, never fled, never gave up. The same happened with the other 2 patrol ships. They fought with skill and determination. They inflicted minor damage on several Zephyrite vessels and they held out for almost 20 minutes against 200 warships. When it was over, Jathik felt empty. This should have been glorious. This should have been satisfying. Instead, he felt like he had just crushed something brave and beautiful. All hostile vessels eliminated, the sensor officer reported. His voice lacked enthusiasm. The colony is defenseless. Begin landing operations, Beixler commanded. Commander Jathik, take your warriors to the surface. Secure the colony. Show them what it means to defy the Zephyrite Empire. Jathik assembled his warriors in the landing bay. They wore full battle armor, carried advanced weapons. They were ready for resistance, for urban combat, for desperate last stands. The landing craft descended through the atmosphere. New Coventry's surface was ugly. Brown dirt, gray rocks, industrial facilities scattered across the landscape. The main colony was a collection of prefabricated buildings. Nothing beautiful, just functional. They landed at the main spaceport. The landing ramps lowered. Warriors poured out, weapons ready. Jik expected gunfire, barricades, defenders making a final stand. Instead, he found a crowd of humans standing around looking annoyed. Just annoyed, not afraid, not panicking, annoyed, like someone had interrupted their work. A large human male with a gray beard stepped forward. He wore dirty work clothes and a frown. He looked at the Zephyrite warriors with the expression of someone dealing with a minor inconvenience. "You're the invading army?" he asked. Jathik raised his weapon. "I am Commander Jathik of the Zephyrite Imperial Forces. This colony is now under Zephyrite control. You will surrender immediately. Resistance will be met with force." The human looked back at the crowd behind him. "They're serious." "Ha, apparently," another human replied. "That's actually happening then." The bearded human turned back to Jathik. "Look, I'm Peterson. I run this colony. Can you guys at least let us finish the current mining shift? We're behind on quotas as it is, and this really isn't helping." Jik felt his mind struggling to process this. They were being invaded, conquered, and this human was worried about mining quotas. "You are prisoners of war," Jathik said slowly, carefully pronouncing each word. "You have no say in what happens now." Peterson sighed heavily, like a man accepting an unwanted task. "Fine, but you're explaining this to corporate. They're going to be pissed about the production delays." Over the next few hours, Jathik's warriors occupied the colony. The humans offered no resistance. They did not fight. They did not run. They just complied. But they complained constantly. "Be careful with that equipment. It's expensive. You can't put military vehicles in the residential area. The weight will crack the foundation. The power plant needs maintenance every 6 hours. If you skip it, the whole colony loses electricity." One young human female approached Jathik directly. She carried a datapad and looked frustrated. "Excuse me, are you in charge?" "I am Commander Jathik." "Great. Look, we've got some volatile chemicals in Storage Bay 7. If you guys are going to be moving stuff around, be careful with those. They're explosive and expensive." JK stared at her. "You are giving me safety warnings." "Well, yeah, I mean, you blow up the chemicals, you blow up half the colony, and then nobody wins, right? Just trying to help." She walked away before Jathik could respond. This was not normal. This was not how conquered people behaved. Where was the fear? Where was the despair? Where was the sense that their world had just ended? Later that night, Jik walked through the occupied colony. His warriors patrolled the streets, stood guard at key locations, but the humans just went about their business. Some were in their homes, others worked in facilities that could not shut down. A few gathered in small groups talking quietly. Jathik passed by one group. They were speaking in low voices but not too low. They did not seem to care if he heard. "How long do you think this will last?" one asked. "Couple weeks maybe." Another replied, "Military will handle it." "You think they'll negotiate or just kick these guys out?" "Probably negotiate. The brass likes to do things proper. I just hope they hurry up. I've got a shipment due next month." They were talking about the invasion like it was a temporary inconvenience, like a traffic delay, not like their lives had just changed forever. Jik returned to his command post in the colony's administrative building. He found his second-in-command reviewing reports. "Status?" Jathik asked. "Colony secured, Commander. No resistance encountered. Human population compliant. But unusual." "Unusual how?" His second-in-command hesitated. "They do not seem afraid, sir. They act like this is temporary, like we are visitors who will leave soon." "We will not leave," Jathik said firmly. "This colony belongs to the Empire now." "Yes, sir. Should I inform the humans of this?" "They will learn soon enough." But even as Jik said it, he felt doubt creeping in. Something was wrong here, something he could not identify. Conquered people did not act like this. They did not give safety warnings to their conquerors. They did not worry about production quotas while being occupied unless they knew something the Zephyrite did not. In another section of the Glory of Ages, Intelligence Officer Meredith was about to discover what that something was, and it would change everything. Intelligence Officer Meredith had not slept in 3 days. Her office aboard the Glory of Ages looked like chaos. Data screens everywhere, holographic displays floating in the air, reports scattered across every surface. She had been digging, researching, trying to understand why the humans were so calm about being invaded. What she found terrified her. Commander J. She called through the communication system. Her voice was shaking. I need to show you something right now. Jadok arrived quickly. Since occupying New Coventry, he had been eager for anything that might explain human behavior. He entered Meredith's office and stopped. The mess surprised him. Meredith, are you well? No, she said honestly. I am not well. Look at this. She pulled up a star map. It showed human territory, their colonies, their military deployments. I have been tracking human military movements, Meredith explained, going back 6 months before our declaration of war. During the war, after the war started, she highlighted several regions. Look here and here and here. Their ship movements barely changed. We know this already, Jadok said. They did not mobilize against us. That is what worried me. Meredith continued. So, I dug deeper into human ship designs. Look at this. She brought up technical schematics. Human vessels, everything from tiny patrol ships to massive freighters. Every single human ship, even civilian cargo haulers, has military shields, advanced weapons, reinforced armor. Their colonies are built to withstand orbital bombardment. Their mining equipment can be converted to weapons manufacturing in days. Thick studied the data. Their entire civilization is prepared for war. Not prepared, Meredith corrected. Already at war constantly. I started researching their history, recent history, the incidents they have faced. She pulled up an incident report. The file was heavily redacted, but enough remained to be shocking. 5 years ago, something called the Void Swarm. Millions of creatures from beyond the galactic rim. They consume organic matter. 3 human colonies were attacked. What happened? Jadok asked. The humans fought them off. Lost 50,000 people but won, and we never heard about it because they classified the entire incident. They did not ask for help, did not warn other species, just handled it alone and moved on. Meredith's hands trembled as she pulled up another file. 2 years ago, the Prometheus colony, population 200,000. The colony went silent for 3 days. When human military arrived, everyone was alive, but changed somehow. The reports are redacted, but what I could find. She trailed off. What? Jadok demanded. The humans sterilized the entire planet from orbit, killed all 200,000 of their own people. Then they established a permanent quarantine zone. Anyone who goes near that planet without authorization gets destroyed on sight. No questions asked, no exceptions. Jadok felt cold spreading through his body. They killed their own colony, to stop whatever was there from spreading, Meredith said. She pulled up more files, dozens of them. There are more incidents. Encounters with reality-bending entities in the Kepler sector. References to something they call the thing we don't talk about. Entire sectors where human ships refuse to go. Warnings with no explanations. She met Jadok's eyes. Her expression was haunted. Commander, I think I know why the humans did not respond to our declaration of war. Why? Because they are already fighting wars that make ours look insignificant. They are fighting things we cannot imagine. Things that would give us nightmares. Jadok sat down heavily. That cannot be true. The galactic community would know. Would we? Meredith pulled up human communication logs. Look at how they talk about these threats. Casual, matter-of-fact, like it is just part of their normal routine. They have been dealing with existential horrors for decades, and they have gotten so good at it that they do not even bother telling anyone else. She pulled up one final document. A human military report from 3 months ago, around the time the Zephyrite declared war. This is a threat assessment of the Galactic Empire, Meredith said quietly. Jadok leaned forward to read. The words hit him like physical blows. Threat level, minimal recommendation, standard diplomatic protocols. Monitor situation. Do not redirect resources from primary operations. Primary operations. We are not even a priority. Jadok whispered. We are barely a footnote. Look at this. Meredith pulled up a tactical map. It showed the deployment of human military forces across their territory. See where their main fleet is located? The majority of human ships, their biggest vessels, Their strongest forces were all concentrated on one side of their territory, the far side, away from Zephyrite space, toward the edge of the galaxy, toward the rim. They are fighting something out there, Meredith said. Something on the galactic rim, something so dangerous they keep their entire main battle fleet there permanently. What is it? Jathik asked. I do not know. The records are too heavily classified. But look at the ship logs from vessels that return from that region. She displayed several reports. Ships with damage that should have been impossible. Crew members suffering psychological trauma. Request for specialized ammunition that violated galactic treaties. One log stood out from a human dreadnought called Indomitable, returning from 3 months on the rim. All hands accounted for. Victory achieved but enemy forces repelled but not eliminated. They will be back. They are always back. Recommend continued maximum alert status. Whatever happens, we cannot let them through. If they reach the inner colonies, if they reach Earth. The rest was redacted. Jathik read it 3 times. What could make humans write like that? I do not know, Meredith admitted. But I found something else. The human ship that fought our cruisers at New Coventry. The one that held out for so long. She pulled up specifications. Standard patrol vessel. Crew of 20. Designed for anti-piracy operations. Nothing special. It fought like a warship because to humans, every ship is a warship. Every crew is trained for combat. Every colony is a fortress. Meredith looked exhausted. They live like this all the time. Always ready. Always fighting because they have to be. Jathik stood up. We need to tell the Admiral. We need to tell the Council. Tell them what? Meredith asked. That we picked a fight with a species that is already fighting for survival against things we cannot comprehend, that our grand invasion is just a minor annoyance to them. Yes, Jathik said firmly. Exactly that. They went to Admiral Vexter together. Showed him everything. The Admiral listened. His expression growing darker with each revelation. When they finished, Vexter was silent for a long time. This changes everything, he finally said. Yes, Admiral, we need to withdraw immediately. What about New Coventry? Jathik asked. Give it back, apologize. Do whatever it takes to end this war before we attract their serious attention. Vexter pulled up fleet status displays. Because if we make them angry enough to redirect even a fraction of their real military force toward us, we will not survive. As they prepared withdrawal orders, Meredith's sensor station beeped urgently. Admiral, we have incoming ships. Zephyrite reinforcements. Vexter asked. No, sir. Human vessels moving past us at high speed. On the main display, a formation of ships appeared. These were not patrol vessels. These were warships. Real warships. Dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything in the Zate fleet. Carriers bristling with fighter craft. Vessels with weapon arrays that made Zephyrite cannons look like children's toys. The human fleet did not slow down. Did not acknowledge the Zate armada. Just passed by like they were not even there. One human ship sent a brief message as it passed. Excuse us. On our way to handle something. Try not to blow anything else up while we are gone. Thanks. The transmission ended. The human fleet disappeared into the distance, heading away from Zephyrite space, heading toward the rim. Jathik watched them go with growing horror. What are they going to fight? No one answered because no one wanted to know. Several hours later, Ambassador Krell received the urgent message while preparing his evening meal. The war had been going well, he thought. New Coventry conquered. Human resistance minimal. Everything according to plan. The message changed everything. Return to Council immediately. Emergency session. We are withdrawing all forces. Withdrawing after just one conquest. This made no sense. Krell rushed to the Council chambers. Other members were already assembled. Their expressions were grim. Admiral Vexter stood at the center looking like he had aged 10 years. Explain, Council member Theodin demanded. Vexter played the intelligence reports. Everything Meredith had discovered. The classified incidents. The threats humanity faced. The enormous fleet stationed at the rim. The Council watched in growing horror. This cannot be accurate. One member protested. Our intelligence must be mistaken. It is all verified. Vexer replied. Multiple sources. Cross-referenced. The humans have been fighting a war we know nothing about. A war that makes ours look insignificant. Krell felt his world tilting. They had poked a sleeping giant. Worse, they had poked a giant that was already busy fighting monsters. We withdraw immediately, Krell announced. Send peace envoys. Apologize. Return New Coventry. Whatever it takes. Agreed, Theodun said. The vote was unanimous. They sent their finest diplomats to Earth, offered reparations, begged forgiveness. waited anxiously for the human response. It came 2 days later. "Oh, were we at war? Sorry, we have been a bit distracted." "Sure, peace sounds good. We will send someone to sign whatever paperwork you need. How about next month? We have got our hands full right now." Next month, when they had time, when they were not busy with whatever they were actually fighting, the Zephyrite fleet began its retreat. Commander Jathik supervised the withdrawal from New Coventry. The humans there seemed almost disappointed. "That is it?" Peterson asked. "You are leaving already. The war is over," Jathik explained. "We are returning your colony." "Ha, okay, then." Peterson looked at his datapad. "I need you to sign some forms for the damage reports. Corporate will want documentation, even in withdrawal." The humans were concerned about paperwork. As the Zephyrite ships departed orbit, Jathik stood on the bridge, watching the planet shrink behind them. He felt relief. They had survived their encounter with humanity. "Barely, Commander," the sensor officer called. "Multiple contacts ahead." Jathik's heart skipped. Were the humans attacking despite the peace agreement? But no. The human fleet was moving perpendicular to their position. Not toward them, past them. A massive formation heading somewhere else. Somewhere more important. These ships were enormous. Dreadnoughts that made Zephyrite vessels look like toys. Each one bristling with weapons. Each one scarred and repaired from countless battles. One ship passed close enough that Jathik could see its name painted on the hull. Indomitable. The same ship from the report. The one that had fought at the rim. That had written those haunting words about not letting them through. Jathik watched the human fleet disappear into the distance, heading toward the galactic rim, toward whatever threat waited there, whatever horror required humanity's full attention. And suddenly Jathik understood the humans had not ignored the Zephyrite war because they were arrogant. They had not failed to mobilize because they were unprepared. They had simply prioritized. They were fighting to save the galaxy from something terrible, something that would destroy everyone if it broke through. And while they fought that battle, they could not be bothered with minor territorial disputes. The Zephyrite Empire had declared war on their protectors, and the humans had been too busy protecting them to care.